dobro jutro svima, čekamo još 5-6 minuta da se u što većem broju. Da vas pitam, imate li neki kolokvijum ove nedelje?
Nema.
Baš tako 5-6 minuta. Pošto vidim da se još uvek uključuju studenti, ajde se čekat ću još par minuta baš da ne krenemo. U stvari, hajde krenut ćemo, nema već što pa da čekamo, ipak je 10:15 prošlo. Before we start reading extracts from the remaining extras from the second section from Adrian Mole and discuss the vocabulary and the ideas and events, I would like to just mention that yesterday I checked some assignments and I sampled some. So, for example, out of the three assignments, I found 2 plagiarisms, and I don't know what to say. I forgot the names because I don't want to remember the names. I don't care, really, because if someone's ready to cheat in that way, I cannot help it. And I don't know. I would just like to say that it's not a good idea to, at such a young age, to get used to doing such things. So if you get used to cheating at the age of 19 and plagiarizing, it just won't work. Life doesn't work that way. So I cannot stop that because I'm not your conscience. But I don't think it's a good idea. Not because of me, but because of you. I mean, you will get those points. I'm not a policeman, but I really think that it's not a good idea to do that. And you cannot destroy, I don't know, our reputation or someone else's reputation. You can do it. I mean, we don't care, but that's just not a good idea. Learn to rely on your own minds, not on someone else's. Don't pick someone else's brains. Learn to rely on your own minds. And I know that everybody can produce good homework assignments. So, I mean, I just wanted to say that because I saw that yesterday. So it wasn't. I don't know. I just want to delete that from my mind, but I suggest you don't do it because you're in the first year, and you know, everybody knows that. In time, everybody will know that a person cheats, which is not a good image. It's not a good image. It just, as I said, it just doesn't work that way in life. And if someone cheats on you someday, if I cheat on someone and someone cheats on me, then I cannot complain. I cannot complain because start from yourself. And now let's start with Sunday, April the 26th. In my book, it's page 86, and we'll do the analysis of the text in the same way we did. We did that last week. Plus, we'll try to identify antonyms in addition to synonyms and paraphrases in the text there, because I think you will find that interesting. And it's a part of the syllabus of topics that we're supposed to cover in our syllabus. So who would like to read Sunday, April the 26th? In my book, it's page 86, and we probably don't have the same edition. And so 86, 87, 88, maybe 85. Sunday, April the 26th. It begins with 2:10 p.m. So my little sojourn in Sheffield. Who would like to read the text and we can analyze it together? Any volunteers? Okay, Vanya, thanks.
So, Sunday, April the 26th, 10:02 p.m. So my little sojourn in Sheffield is drawing to a close. I'm catching the 7:10 p.m. train, which only leaves 5 hours to do my packing. My father was right. I didn't need 2 suitcases of clothes. Still, it is better to be safe than sorry, I always say. I shan't be sorry to leave this sordid flat with the coughing neighbors, though naturally I have some regrets about my mother's stubbornness in refusing to come home with me.
Mm-hmm.
I told her that the dog was pinning to death for her, but pining to death for her, but she rang my father up, and like a fool, he told her that the dog had just eaten a whole tin of pedigree chum and a bowl of vindaloo.
Mm-hmm.
I told her about my father and Doreen Slater, hoping to send her mad with jealousy, but she just laughed and said, "Oh, is Doreen still making the rounds?" I had done my best to get her back, but must admit defeat. 11 p.m. Journey back a nightmare. Non-smoking compartments are all full, forced to share carriage with pipes, cigars, and cigarettes. Queued for 20 minutes for a cup of coffee in the buffet. Just go to the counter when the girly
Grill,
grill
like a grill.
came down and the man put up a sign saying close due to signal failure. Go back to seat. Found a soldier in my place. Found another seat, but had to endure maniac sitting opposite, telling me he had a radio inside his head controlled by Fidel Castro. My father met at the station. The dog jumped up to meet me, missed, and nearly fell in front of the 9:23 p.m. Birmingham Express. My father said he had Doreen Slater for tea. By the state of the house, I should think he had had her for breakfast, dinner, and tea. I had never seen the woman, but from the evidence she left behind, I know she has got bright red hair, wears orange lipstick, and sleeps on the left side of the bed. What a homecoming! My father said Doreen had ironed my school clothes ready for the morning. What did he expect? Thanks?
Oh, yes. So, what is this part of the book about?
Well, it's he went to visit his mother and now her boyfriend in their apartment in Sheffield. So this is when he's leaving, going back to his father's place. Well, their place.
What did he try to do when he was at his mother?
Well, he tried to reconnect their parents, and he thought that if he made his mother jealous, that she would be like, "Oh no, I have to come back," and that didn't really work out because she already made up her mind.
Was she cynical? Was she?
Cynical maybe is too strong, but she was sarcastic. Like she was, "Oh, like is she alive still?" Like that was more sort of the joke she wanted to make. Like is Dorian still actually? Is someone still looking after Dorian?
Do you know what making the rounds mean? To make the rounds, to go from one place
to another, and but in this
person to another.
Yeah,
so it can be very. It is vague, actually. It is vague, and it is also, I would say, ambiguous, and not a very nice thing to say.
Yes.
If you are the person who does the same thing and joke about, yes, that's it. Okay. Anything you would like to add related to this section?
I mean, there is a fun part about the person who is controlled by Fidel Castro. I mean, I assume at that point.
What about the train? The train. What was it like? Was it also well?
Well, we can see by his grammar that he's writing really fast. That he's actually like making cohesive sentences. He's just laying on words, and he has sentences, but they're not the most grammatical. And that means his ride didn't really go as planned. When he went there on the train, he was in the non-smoking compartment, and that was really good for him because he doesn't like smokes and cigarettes. But this time he had to endure those. And when he tried to get coffee, by the time he came in line, it was closed down to the signal failure.
So this looks only like one single, one text, a piece of writing. But imagine all the things that he experiences. Imagine going through all those things, meeting your mother with her new partner, trying to reconnect, as you said, his parents. Imagine the trouble. Imagine what he went through.
It's a lot.
And it's a lot. It's just one page, but it's actually a lot. You see how we should, we always should be try to connect with the person. It's a lot. And then when he came back disappointed, probably we could say, his father met him. The dog was happy to see him. And then Doreen Slater.
Yes, she was at the house all day long, as he can tell by the evidence left behind. And she got some clues of what she looks like.
And then he says, "What a homecoming! What a homecoming!"
Yeah, he was sarcastic.
Yes, but that's the way to deal with things. How do you deal with things? You actually show who you are when you are in trouble. and when you go through some kind of, I don't know, frustration, that's who you are. It's easy to be nice and kind and humane when everything's fine. And when you go through trouble and when you are in such situation, you actually show who you are and how you suffer from frustration. If you suffer in a bad way, you try to destroy everyone around you. You are, I don't know, vindictive, and you break things, and metaphorically and literally, of course. Then that's not good. But I think that Adrian Mole goes through these things and suffers, I would say, bravely. And he's a good boy. He's a good boy. So because what he goes through is really a lot, and it can make him confused for the rest of his life. So I would say that he's a very nice boy, and he is sarcastic, and yes, and maybe annoying. I remember some students in some previous generations say, well, he is annoying because he has, but isn't he just honest?
He's just a boy. He's still 14 years old.
And our minds are chaotic. All minds are chaotic. Imagine, just try and monitor yourself during the day, and you will see how many thoughts go through your minds, millions and millions of thoughts. And you can, for example, be happy now, and in 2 hours you suddenly just lose it and become the opposite. So that's what I'm trying to say, that all the ideas that come to his mind and the way he complains and he's annoying, it's just normal. It's just normal. We do that all the time. Maybe we're not aware of that. We're not actually aware of many things. We just go through life like, I don't know. Everything's so blurry and foggy. And okay, let's go to the vocabulary. So my little sojourn, what is that?
A social journey?
A stay somewhere. When I say little stay, a temporary stay. Znači moj boravak tamo. Negde, ili konkretno u Sheffield. Okay. It's drawing to a close. This is a nice phrase, drawing to a close. Okay. I shan't be sorry to leave this sordid flat. What is sordid?
Well, like maybe not really a rancid, but maybe a not really well kept flat.
Could you type the word in online and type sordid synonyms and give us some of the synonyms?
We have sleazy, seedy,
Yes.
seamy, unsavory, shoddy, wild.
What does that actually mean? It means that it's dirty and
unpleasant.
Yes, both dirty and so sleazy, shoddy. What else did you find?
Vile, foul.
Excellent. And what is the opposite? Could you type in antonyms, sordid antonyms? Meni su te mreže, ja se nadam da je to i vama zanimljivo. Te mreže već je toliko zanimljivo. Znači, sordid antonyms.
We have high-minded, respectable, and immaculate.
For sordid.
Yes.
Yes.
I assume immaculate is more for this kind of particular because it's a flat.
Yes. Immaculate. And then the opposite is sordid because it's dirty. Both metaphorically and literally. Okay. Stubbornness. This one is a well-known word, stubbornness. But let's take a look at stubbornness on the internet. Could you please provide us with the synonyms? Type it in, and stubbornness. Baš imenicu, ne stubborn adjective, nego baš stubbornness.
We have dodged, mullish, obstinate.
But these are adjectives.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Let's
stubbornness.
Thesaurus. Let's see what it says. Inflexibility, obstinance, perseverance, bullheadedness, contumacy, doggedness.
Doggedness. Some of them have positive and some of them have negative connotations. For example, doggedness would be negative, and perseverance would be istrajnost. Would be positive. So it depends. Stubbornness is actually a negative word, but determinedness maybe would be positive, perseverance. How about the opposite or antonyms? Antonyms to stubbornness.
Let's see, what's the opposite? Stubborn?
Maybe antonyms.
Compliant? Oh, I'm getting for stubborn, not really stubbornness.
Stubbornness. Tako ću vas na usmenom pitati, recimo, baš naiđemo na neku more common word, možda za Sordi je teže, ipak, znači samo ne možemo očekujemo na seju jedan tako bogatstvo, ali za ove bi trebalo već da znate, znači, na primjer, kaže stubborn, you are supposed to provide a couple of synonyms and antonyms. I molim vas, bez ikakve anksioznosti, radite sve što treba da radite do vlastne časove redovno i to će biti sve u redu. I radite pošteno, molim vas. Okay, stubbornness.
Yes, amenability, flexibility, indetermination, irresolution.
Resolution. Kako ste to ukucali? Šta ste trebali?
Antonyms for stubbornness on the thesaurus.com.
Okay. Ja samo recimo ukucam stubbornness antonyms.
I did, but it only brought up for stubborn, not really stubbornness, so I had to go on a...
What is the name for a dictionary that gives synonyms? Remember the term.
Thesaurus? No?
Bravo, thesaurus. And the plural is thesauri in academic circles.
Because of Latin origin,
yes.
Right?
But you can also probably say thesauruses because in everyday communication language, conversation, you use the normal ending or the common ending S, right? I told her that the dog was pining. How do you understand the word? If you don't have the synonyms, could you paraphrase the word pine?
Well, like he was not really sick to death. That maybe.
Well, yes. You can explain the meaning.
Yeah, he was just feeling miserable without her. Like he was showing signs that he was depressed, that he wasn't there.
Yes, that's it. If I ask you, for example, to provide synonyms and you cannot think of any, don't ever in your oral exam, don't be silent. Try and paraphrase it. And if you cannot think of the synonym, you just try and explain. Yes, to long for something, to have anguish. Yes. Right. Jealousy. Oh, I like this. So what is jealousy and what is envy? How do you understand the two concepts? Words and the concepts behind the words. Jealousy and envy.
I mean, they are kind of similar. There is a difference.
Yes.
I don't know if I can provide a correct difference.
We'll talk about the
envy when you look up to someone, but not in a positive like you see what they have.
Is
but
that
you
envy?
Don't have it.
Envy.
That would be envy.
Yes. And what about jealousy?
Well, jealousy is more of like you want what the other person has. And
That's
you could probably get it, but you don't. Like there is... I'm not sure how you do that.
Ljubomora i zavist. Pazite, ljubomora i zavist. They could be, they are similar, you're right, but jealousy is that jealousy is fear of losing something that you have. You have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and because it's your boyfriend and your girlfriend, you don't want to lose that person, so you're jealous if someone approaches your boyfriend or girlfriend. But envy is, I would say, worse, because you want something that does not belong to you. So you're envious. That's connected with nikad ne poželi tuđe. To je jedna, da kažem, najvažnija stvar u životu. The guiding principle. Don't ever wish for something that does not belong to you, because it gives birth to envy, which is one of the worst personal traits. You know, when people say they are envious. Zavist, to je strašna bolest. It's a snake. So jealousy is fear of losing something that belongs to you. That's the basic demarcation line between jealousy and envy. And sometimes people use them interchangeably, but they are not. And envy is that you are You want something that doesn't belong to you. And yes, it can lead people to very bad things. And let's try and find synonyms for jealousy.
Okay.
It's interesting to actually take a look at the synonyms for jealousy.
We have grudge, resentment,
Oh,
spite, begrudging.
That's for jealousy.
For jealous, yes.
Begrudging, resentment. Yes, you feel resentful because, well, I would actually have. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the same.
Yes, they are, I would say, not very near synonyms. There are some near synonyms, and there are synonyms that are not. That are
I got enviousness for synonym, but as we just explained, it's
of course, sometimes, yes. Sometimes people use them interchangeably. You imagine words like Venn diagram. You know, they have some overlaps, but they're not to use completely the same. And how about envy? What are the synonyms for envy?
Okay. Bitterness, hatred, ill will, malice, prejudice, lusting.
Lusting, yes. Hatred, yes. Envy is actually very close to hatred. It leads to hate. You hate people for basically that. One of the most important things in life is to actually know how to recognize these things in ourselves, first of all, and in other people, so you don't fall into the trap of socializing with people who are not very nice. And what about the antonyms for jealousy?
Okay, let's do that.
So you see that when you compare the synonyms for jealousy and the synonyms for envy, you see that what you find for envy is it's a higher level of hatred, actually. A higher level of negativity than jealousy. And yes, that's the difference. How about antonyms for jealousy?
Admiration, pride, trust,
yes.
understanding.
You see, but they are very synonyms, more like close to jealousy, but yes, you wouldn't actually replace jealousy with any of these.
Yes, maybe admiration. Maybe that's the closest one you would.
Maybe, right? Jealousy versus admiration. Yes, you're not jealous, you admire. Yes. How about envy? The opposite of envy, or the antonyms.
I got here generosity.
Odlično, bravo, odličan primjer. Tako je, suprotno od zavisti je zapravo velikodušnost. Don't ever envy people, but be generous, be noble. Ima li noble, something like...
There's be glad for, but it's like in a verb sense.
So in addition to generosity, what other antonyms are there in that source that you have? Right now?
Okay, we have now friendliness,
love,
comfort,
excellent.
Kindness.
Excellent. So you see the difference by comparing the antonyms and synonyms. You can actually see how different they are. Excellent. Yes, it's you don't envy, you love people. You either envy or you love them, because envy is very close to hatred. I say that envy is actually an indicator of hatred. You cannot love someone if you envy someone. Excellent. Right. That was a good research on the lexical relations, synonymy and antonymy, the so-called nym words, making his own nym words, synonym, antonym, homonym, hyponym. Okay. Right. What is this grill? You just got to the counter when the grill came down. What do you think that is?
I assume the coffee maker.
But the grill itself is that the metal bars.
The metal bars, which under them there is like a heat source which heats up.
Yes, it's like a protection from all, like between, yes, the person who's behind the grill and you. And that's it. So thank you, Vanya. Thank you, Vanya. It was nice talking to you. And let's now move on to the next. Let me see. I was under 5. My notes. And now let's go to number 6. Barry can duck me up. Thursday, May the 21st. Thursday, May the 21st. In my book, it's 101. 101. strana u mojoj knjizi. 101. strana u mojoj knjizi. Znači, Thursday, May the 21st. Any volunteers? Okay, great. Alexa.
All right.
Thank you.
Barry Kent doffed me up in the cloakroom today. He hanged me up on one of the coat hooks. He called me a copper's knack and other things too bad to write down. My grandma found out about the menacing. My father didn't want her to know on account of her diabetes. She listened to it all, then she put her hat on, thinned her lips and went out. She was gone 1 hour and 7 minutes. She came in, took her coat off, fluffed her hair out, took 27.18 pounds from the anti-mugger belt around her waist. She said, "He won't bother you again, Adrian, but if he does, let me know." Then she got the tea ready. Bleachers, tomatoes, and ginger cake. I bought her a box of diabetic chocolates from the chemist's as a token of my esteem.
Could you contextualize the events? So here it's about Barry Kent, Grandma, and Adrian. Who's Barry Kent? Why
Barry Kent is his bully.
Yes.
He duffed him up and he beat him up. Or
yes,
it's more like he stuffed him in a cloakroom. Like
it's horrible. Imagine that. Imagine that. Just try to empathize. Imagine reading in the newspaper or your neighbor, your friend telling you my child was duffed up in the cloakroom.
Yes, it's quite bad.
Disgusting.
So when she found out, she decided to help him. Right.
But how come they came to that point that Barry Kent duffed him up? He hit him many times. How did he come to this? What happened? Why wasn't Adrian protected by anyone?
Well, throughout the whole book, they have a similar kind of problem, but now it came to a peak,
which means that no one actually dealt with the problem. Neither.
Adrian used to give him money. Always.
That's his way of. That was his way of dealing with the problem.
So of course it didn't work for long. It had to somehow fail.
Do you find it strange that it was his grandma, not his father or mother, dealt with the problem?
In context with how his mother and father have those problems, and they really don't give much attention to him. So grandma is usually the one who is talking to him about those kinds of things, as I noticed.
So you see that that's the consequence of
their divorce, yes.
Yes. Of their immaturity, of their, thinking about themselves, selfishness. They missed the fact that their child was constantly bullied, and that's something that is, it's just disgusting. So we cannot just go through the text and analyze anything without really understanding what is going on. So it was his grandma finally who dealt with the problem. What does it suggest? What kind of a person is grandma?
Well, grandma, she cares about him, first of all.
Yes.
And she was always against his mother and on the side of his father, but that's a bit different. She's a bit stiff like that. but she was always there to help him, mostly when he was sick. I remember in the
Yes.
first part of the book, he wasn't really sick, but he had those acne, and she was all like, "Oh, that's horrible, we need to call the doctor," and then even doctor left.
She took care of him.
Yes, she took care of him.
She paid attention to him. So
So
she did not neglect him. She did not ignore his needs. One of the things that a parent should do is to attend to a child's needs. The basic need is, first of all, protection. And he wasn't protected by his parents. What would you do if you had a child? You will have a child someday, and something like this happens. The first thing you will do, you will go to school and deal with that. Yes, but they didn't do it, and the grandma had to do it. So she's an amazing figure. And how did she do it? How did she solve the problem?
Well, I don't quite understand how she exactly solved it. But she took some money.
Yes. Okay.
And like she was out for a minute, an hour and 7 minutes, and when she came back, she just said that he won't bother him. So he doesn't know how she does it.
Yes, we don't know. We don't have the explicit words, but we cannot guess that she probably threatened him or scared him or did something. She used his own techniques, Barrycan's techniques. What Barrycan did to Adrian, she did that to Barrycan, and probably that's kind of deal with a bully in a nice way. You just that's debatable. That's what I just said is debatable, because you should never actually respond to violence by being violent. And I don't think she was violent. I think she just told him in an assertive way to stop doing that. She confronted him, not in a violent. I don't think so. I don't think that she. And you should never ever respond with violence when someone's violent. Do you know why you shouldn't ever do that? Because then people will say that you are the bully. So never ever be the bully. Never, never, never. Čak se kaže bolje da vas neko zlostavlja nego da budete zlostavljač, što je tačno. Jer ako postanete isti, onda se ne vidi više razlika. So I think that grandma did not actually do anything like that. A neki ljudi kažu...
Probably she didn't. She's a grandma. What could she really do?
Yes. But she was probably assertive, and she did stand up to him. She did stand up to him, not in a violent way, but she probably just said, stop touching him, stop doing that, something like that. Right. Barrycan duffed me out, so he hit him. What is a cloakroom?
Cloakroom, that would be some kind of closet for cloaks.
Yes.
Where they hang up.
Yes. There, you leave your personal things there. And, right. He called me, Barrycan, the bully, he called me a copper's knock.
Well, I wouldn't quite know what that means exactly.
A knock is someone who gives information to the police about other criminals. So he uses that criminal jargon. He uses
copper's like a cop. Right.
Yes.
I get it.
So you're a copper's knock. He uses the criminal language, criminal jargon to insult him. That's what people who have those tendencies to behave like bullies, they use that type of language. Oh, you're such a coward because you're a nice person. You're cowardly. You are weak, because they think that nice people and good people are weak, and which is, rubbish. But that's their jargon. They call you out by saying you're weak, and they in a way they challenge you to do something bad, because you can respond with, I'm not a coward, I will just do something. But that's that's something you should never do, because you should never ever feel offended by anyone's words, because you know who you are. You know who you are. So, and Adrian, I think, did not respond, and he had wisdom. So he called him Koprznak, and other things too bad to write down. Verovatno mu je rekao kukavice, slabiću, ne umeš da pokažeš jačinu tako što ćeš da prekršiš zakon. To tako rade kriminalci. And some people fall for it, unfortunately. And what you should do is just ignore them, because that's rubbish. My grandma found out that you always should be composed. My grandma, and Adrian was actually composed. My grandma found out about the menacing. What's menacing?
Bullying.
Yes. Threatening, bullying.
Yes, bullying, threatening, everything connected to that.
On account of, what does that mean? On account of?
On account, it means like she has diabetes, and that's why she shouldn't know about it.
Or you can say because of.
Because of.
Yes. Now, take a look at grandma. She listened to it, and then she put her hat, thinned her lips. She thinned her lips, and then she fluffed her hair out. What does this mean? So she thinned her lips, she fluffed her hair out. She fluffed her hair out.
That doesn't. That's yes. Fluffed her hair out, like she probably I have no idea what exactly it could mean in context, but it would.
She moved her hair forward and out.
Yes, forward, so it looks bigger. But
yes, that's it. So she wanted to look more frightening. Yes. And yes. She took her 27 pounds from the anti-mugger bell. What is an anti-mugger bell? Or let me rephrase the question. Who is a mugger?
Mugger is a thief who it's more like a street thief who just runs through and tries to steal something from you without you knowing. He tries to mug you. That's
yes. So grandma is actually very wise, and she knows life. She knows what life is all about. What am I trying to say now? Psychologists say that we all have a monster inside of us. We're all both bad and good. But they say that we should all become aware of it. We are all capable of bad things, but we should control our monster. And why is it good to know that we have that monster? Because we have it. Because it gives us strength, actually. But we should control it. We should never, of course, never, ever be bullies or do bad things to people. But we should be aware of that, and we should be aware that it exists in other people, and stand up to that by knowing that we cannot go through life naively, like everybody's nice. No, and grandma was aware of that, so she knew that when she confronted Barry Kent, she had to look like a monster. I don't think she did anything bad, but she looked that way, and that's good. And he recognized, Barry Kent knew that she wasn't bluffing, and she knew that she was who she was, and he respected that. Bullies respect that. So, respected. I don't know if he knows what that concept means, but he knew that she wasn't joking. She meant what she said, whatever she said. Okay, and now take a look at this. She got the tea ready. You know what tea is? To je chai. But now I would like to ask you to take a look at the meaning of the word tea, because there is another meaning of this word that you might not know, and it can be confusing in some context if an Englishman or an English woman asks you to have tea. You may misunderstand it, because it's not always.
Well, if I read it like with the next sentence after that, it means some kind of meal.
Excellent. So it can be a small meal.
Small meal,
yes, which you eat in the late afternoon. Sometimes, Yes, it can include, I don't know, ginger cake. Ginger cake, znate koliko je to let kolač? Da je neko pravio ginger cake? Mislim da mi niko nije to stavio recept u ginger cake. A ne, pomešao sam sa carrot cake. Neko mislim da mi je opisao carrot cake, but this is ginger cake. Anyway, what are pilchards?
Pilchards?
Znači, tea vam je mali obrok koji uključuje a cup of tea and cake, for example. To mi isto jedemo, samo što to zovemo, kako mi to zovemo? Užina. Mi bismo rekli neka užina, znači možda se prevede kao neka užina, yes. So, take a look at the online, at the word online.
Already. It says a small sea fish that can be eaten in a tin of pilchards in tomato sauce or a can.
Da, that's it. So you can say it's fish, basically, if you are asking the
Znači, ono što bi mi rekli ovdje kao neka tunjevina, nešto.
Pa neka sardela, da neke sardinice, tako nešto, da. Ali znate bar da je fish, znači, you don't have to, in your exam, kad imamo tako reći, na primjer, vrste ribe, i to je već vrlo specifičan registar, i nema potrebe sad da ulazimo u takav specifičan registar, tipa da znam baš šta je svaka vrsta ribe. Mislim, ljudi, ako ne jedemo to, mislim, kako to ljudi ne jedu, ne možemo, prosto mora da bude blisko, ali bar da znamo da je fish. And ginger cake, could you take a look at ginger cake? Ginger cake.
All right. So...
Možete images, pogledajte ginger cake i defining i image, uvek morate pogledati sliku. Nemoguće je za neke stvari razumeti onako baš ako ne vidite sliku. Ako gledate samo tekst. Moramo multimodalno.
I actually don't know what it is even in Serbian, so...
I'm not sure about the word ginger cake, kolač sa đumpirom, but it looks like what?
Well, like a piece of bread.
Okay.
It's similar to a piece of bread.
Yes.
It's more like a cake bread or something.
What does it have? Which ingredients does it have?
Well, of course it has ginger, right?
Yes, it looks like bread basically. It could be considered as baked cake. Baked cake with ginger, yes. Pazite, to su kombinacije koje Englezi, pa i mi volimo, mislim, ne samo Englezi, i Nemci. Imate ginger, imate cinnamon, cimet, on ima nutmeg. Nutmeg vam je, kako mi to kažemo, indijski oraščić. To je posebna aroma. Vrlo lepo. Za razliku od tih čokoladnih koji su isto mnogo lepi. Ovo je druga, kao carrot cake. Carrot cake is similar. Carrot cake is also similar to ginger cake because it also looks like, as you said, like, bread, baked cake. It's a baked cake that has that ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg.
Here it says it has even black pepper. So
yes. So it has a different taste. You should maybe, I don't know, try and make a ginger cake or I suggest carrot cake. Baš ću tu unesti, toliko kolač da to, a možda da ste, mislim, pravi onako baš stan. Okay, and finally, the last question for you is a token of my esteem. What is a token of my esteem?
That's a sign of respect, or it's like she did a favor for him, and he is going to give her something to say some kind of thank you.
What is a book token?
Book token.
What do you think? If someone gives you a book token, that means...
A book token, that would be like...
Slobodno pogledajte na internetu, znači ne morate.
I remember he got a book token from...
Yes.
Like some 10 shillings or something.
Yes. So you can buy a book with that, yes.
Some kind of gift.
Yes, you can buy a book with that. Yes.
Yes, okay.
Okay, Alex, that was good. Thank you for volunteering to read this up to the book. And let's have another volunteer who will read Monday, June the 1st. Monday, June the 1st. If you have any question, if you disagree with me about anything, just feel free to disagree. That's perfectly fine. I'm not always right. I mean, and I don't want to be right all the time. Why would I want that? Monday, June the 1st. Monday, June the 1st, page 105 in my book, and maybe it's, I don't know, 104, 106 in your book, sir. Znači, Monday, June the 1st, Jana Cenić je zaša sastavka. Dobro, idemo. Šta imate vi posle ovoga časa?
Ništa, ja mislim.
Dobro, ajmo.
Srednjovekovnu književnost.
Od koliko?
Ja, da.
Znači imate baš baš puno časa. Ok, dobro, mora tako.
U 12, valjda.
Bolje tako nego da pustite, što se kaže, da pustimo mozak da radi samo od sebe. Na prazno. Znači, Monday, June the 1st. Dobro je kad čovjek ima obavez. Monday, June the 1st. Ajmo, ko hoće da pročitam. Monday, June the 1st. Marijana Jovanović, thank you. My father had a letter. Ajde, pazite, sad njegov otac gubi posao.
Monday, June 1st. Bank holiday in the Republic of Ireland. My father had a letter that made his face go white. He has been made redundant from his job. He will be on the dole. How can we live on the pittance that the government will give us? The dog will have to go. It costs 35 pence a day for dog food, not counting vinovat. I am now a single-parent child whose father is on the dole. Social Security will be buying my shoes. I didn't go to school today. I rang the school secretary and told her that my father is mentally ill and needs looking after. She sounded dead worried and asked if he was violent. I said that he hadn't shown any signs of being violent, but if he started, I would call the doctor. I made my father lots of hot, sweet drinks for shock. He kept going on about electric storage heaters and saying that he would spill the beans to the media. He rang Doreen's later up, and she came round straight away. She had a horrible little kid called Maxwell with her. It was quite a shock to see Doreen later for the first time. Why my father wanted to have carnal knowledge of her, I can't imagine. She's as thin as a sticky insect. She has got no bust and no bump. She's just straight all the way up and down, including her nose and mouth and hair.
Okay, we don't have to read that. So let's focus on the on this part of the book. And could you tell us what it is about?
Well, his father lost his job, and he has been made redundant, and now they will have to live off of government help.
How does he see that? How does he react to that situation?
He thinks it's the end of the world, and he's scared.
Well, it's pretty bad.
Yes.
And he rang the school secretary to say that he wouldn't go to school, and he complained about his father. And why would he do that? What do you think?
Well, maybe he was disappointed a bit.
Maybe he just didn't know who to. He just needed someone to talk to. Probably a parent figure, let's say. Someone who's grown up. And what did his father do? Why did he ring Doreen Slater? What do you think? Why did father?
Well, for support, maybe.
Yes, that's it. That's a good word. So Adrian phoned the school secretary for support, and that's what he's. Well, we all need support, and we all need support especially when we feel bad. That's what we all need: support, protection, understanding.
Someone to comfort us.
Excellent. That's so normal, and I can understand that because and especially because they don't have the, well, let's say, mother in their house, a female figure who takes care of all the things during the day that are highly important, and we take them for granted. And when we don't have that, we feel hollow. It's that role is so important that it can literally disintegrate your life. Anyway, what is the difference between losing a job, the expression to lose a job, and to be made redundant? Marianne.
Well, to lose your job means you get fired.
Mm-hmm.
But when you've been made redundant, it means that the place where you work has probably lost money and they had to let you go because of it.
Mikrotehnološki višak. So he's like, they no longer need his services, which doesn't mean that he was a bad worker. And losing a job, it's a more general term. It can mean that you actually did perform badly, but it was not the case. He has been made redundant because his services are no longer needed, which doesn't mean that he was not a good worker. So he will be on the dole. What is on the dole? What does that mean?
To be on the dole means to get money from the government, because you're unemployed.
Yes, something like
socijalna pomoć.
Tako je na srpskom. Mada kod nas socijalna pomoć, ne znam stvarno koliko iznosi. Mada kod njih to ništa nije. Ja mislim da je kod njih oko 700, ajde da lupim, znači u Nemačkoj nekde 700 evra, to vam je da platite stan, da ne ništa to nije. On the dole, it's just surviving. And it is a pittance. So what is a pittance?
Well, something small.
A very small amount of money. A very small amount. You cannot do anything but just survive, eat, and pay the bills. So it's literally like paying the bills so you don't owe money to the government. The government gives you the money to give the money back to them. Right. And he said that his father was mentally ill. How do you understand this?
It's harsh.
Well, I would probably be mentally, if I don't know, was in the same situation, but anyway, I would. It needs looking after. He says he needs looking after.
He was a bit depressed, probably, because he lost his job.
Yes, which is totally understandable.
Yeah.
To be left disappointed about your marriage and then lose your...
Yeah, his wife left him and then he lost his job. He's losing his life, basically.
It's lost. And yes, I feel really sorry for him. I feel really, really sorry for him. And what does it mean to... what does this expression, actually the idiom, mean? Spill the beans to the media.
It means to tell some secrets. About something.
Yes. Otkriti neke tajne o nečemu. To spill the beans to the media, right? And finally, Dorian Slater, yes. And does he like Maxwell?
He doesn't.
He doesn't. Why do you think? Well, let's ignore the words that he uses. Because Maxwell is also a child, and Maxwell is...
He's quite young. He's a lot younger than Adrian.
And Maxwell is, let's say, another Adrian, and Maxwell is just a child. But why do you...
he hates Dorian Slater because in his mind, she's trying to replace his mother. And now there is also Maxwell, who's another kid that's around his father. Maybe he's afraid of losing his father also because of Maxwell, and everything kind of is confusing in his mind. And everything is, his life is very messy at that point.
Yes, that's true. Everything's so messy, and you cannot deal with yourself, let alone with such complicated relationships and people who are actually strangers in your life, and and then you should accept it. It's not easy to allow someone to become part of your life, and this is like an intrusion.
Yes, everything is changing so fast.
Yes, so fast. And so, yes, and when you get to know someone, you should first, it takes a lot of time to allow someone enter your life, and this is so sudden, and this is so difficult for him. Okay, thank you, Mariana. And the next part we'll read is 8. Let's go to 9. Friday, June the 12th.
We cannot hear you if you're trying to speak. Your mic is off.
Da li me sada čujete? Jel me čujete?
Da.
Uopšte ne znam kako sam isključila mikrofon, ne bitno. Znači, idemo sada, sledeći deo je Friday, June the 12th. Kod mene je 113. strana, ali pre nego što to uradimo, znači nećemo stići Summerhill da doradimo, radit ćemo ga kada stignemo, a to neće biti ni sledeće nedelje, because you have your midterm test on Thursday next week, on the 9th of December, dobit ćete satnicu, sve obaveštenja, uputstva, znači sledećeg četvrtka 9. decembra imate kako se zove, test, a u sredu nemate ništa, nemate predavanje. Znači, one nedelje kada imate test, kolokvijum, ili ti progress test, kako god, midterm test, kako god hoćete, nemate časove. Eto, da znate, znači nemojte se uključujete. Vi ćete imati poziv jer je on napravljen za do kraja semestra, ali ignorišite ga, znači sledeće srede, 8. decembra, nemate nastavu, niti vežbe u četvrtak, jer u periodu kad imate vežbu vi ćete odraditi kolokvijum koji će trajati naravno mnogo kraće, ali je dobro da nemate, da znate to, mislim vama je već rečeno, ali evo prosto da vas podsjetim da se ne zaledite sledeće srede da se uključite na predavanje, jer ja neću se uključiti niti vi, znači nema predavanja. Ali zato, znači, sledeće sreda je 8. ili tako, pa onda 15. Znači 15. ćemo se mi 15. ćemo pričati o Summerhill. Ne samo na ovaj način, nećemo samo analizirati tekst, nego ćemo uključiti malo one analizu, formalnu analizu tipa kom žanru pripada tekst, šta je eksplicitno, šta je implicitno u tekstu. Nešto, znači, će biti slično onome što smo imali kada smo pričali o različitim vrstama spoken and written language. Znači, takva će biti analiza više, ali naravno opet na takvom nivou da možete da lepo izražavate svoje misli. Znači, ne suviše akademski, jer tek treba da učite te termine, znači još je rano. Ipak je ovo samo say jedan. One thing at a time, što bi se reklo polako. Ima vremena za sve. Znači, Friday, June the 12th. Who would like to read this section, this day? Friday, June the 12th, on page 113. Da li ima neku drolicu? Znači, I had a message from the school to say that Bert Baxter wanted. It's about Bert Baxter. It's about the old man. So Bert Baxter, who's ill, and Pandora, and how Pandora and Adrian, well, let's have a volunteer so that students can talk about it, not me. Mnogo je ovaj deo isto interesant. Sve su to ljudske priče, deco. Treba razumeti to i učiti se na tuđim greškama, što se kaže. i objašnjavati ljudima i govoriti im istinu kad nije dobro, kad je dobro. Ne podržavati ljude u lošim stvarima. Nego im reći istinu prosto, na lep način naravno, ne na način da ih srušite. To nikako. Jer je interesantno, sad ja se bavim nekim analizama, znači, but I actually like to inspire to talk and think about things, but it's interesting how we go through life without actually being completely aware what we do and what we don't do, what we can do, what we can't do. Okay, let's have a volunteer. Da prozovem nekog, ajde, klasično. Pa ako nemate mikrofon, kažete, slobodno nema mikrofon, ne mogu, ne, ili ne priča mi se, ili ko nam se javio? Ajmo, Matija, thanks, Matija. Okay, had a message from the school to say...
Had a message from the school to say that Baxter wanted to see me urgently. Went round with Pandora, we're inseparable. Bird is ill. Bert ili Bert, kako je?
Bert.
Bird is ill. He looked awful. Pandora made his bed up with clean sheets. She didn't seem to mind the smell, and I phoned the doctor. I described Bert's symptoms: funny breathing, a white face, sweating. We tried to clean the bedroom up a bit. Bert kept saying stupid things that didn't make sense. Pandora said that he was delirious. He held his hand until the doctor came. Dr. Patel was quite kind. He said that Bert needed oxygen. He gave me a number to ring for an ambulance. It seemed to take ages to come. I thought about how I had neglected Bert lately, and I felt a real red thing. The ambulance man took Bert downstairs on his stretcher. They got stuck on the corner of the stairs and knocked a lot of empty beetroot jars over. Pandora and me cleared a path through the rubbish in the downstairs hall, and they steered him through. He was wrapped in a big, fluffy red blanket before he went outside. Then they shut him up in the ambulance, and he was sirened away. I had a big lump in my throat, and my eyes were watering. It must have been caused by the dust. Bert's house is very dusty.
So it's about what about Bert Baxter? But what exactly?
Well, first of all, a few days prior to Bert becoming sick, Adrian started dating Pandora, and then, well, they basically started going everywhere together.
Yes.
Adrian hasn't been to Bert's house much because, of course, he had his own issues to deal with.
Yes.
So when finally he came over, he realized that Bert was getting sick. He basically phoned for ambulance, and then Bert was short of oxygen, probably had some lung issues, and then he was taken to the hospital. He was hospitalized.
Yes.
Yes,
he's very old. He's old.
He's quite old. Bert is. Not sure if you mentioned how old he is.
Can Bert take care of himself on his own? Can he take care?
I mean, not really. I mean, he's conscious enough to be able to, but I mean, he's quite old, so I mean.
When you're all alone.
Yeah, he's alone at an old age, so he needs someone to pretty much take care of him.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes, all people need help, and we should help them. I cannot. I mean, I'm not trying to say that this is a bad thing. I don't want to say, but I would. The best thing for an old person is to be with a family, to stay with them, not to be in, I don't know, alone or in a, I don't know. Just be with a family. That's it. Right. What is Pandora like? What does she do? What did she do?
Well, she seems like a nice kid.
She seems very nice.
She seems well behaved, to be honest. She held Bert's hand while he until the doctor came, actually, and like she actually looks as if she knows how to deal with older people and how to be there for people.
Excellent. Yes, and that's very nice. She didn't seem to mind the smell.
Yeah, she also replaced these covers.
Yes, she didn't mind the dirty things. She made his bed up with clean sheets. So she was very caring. She was nice. She was caring. She showed that she was a good person in real life. And what does it mean to be delirious?
As an explanation, well,
Could you give us synonyms? Could you try and find some synonyms for the word
well,
delirious?
perhaps to be irrational.
Irrational, yes,
Irrational.
yes.
Irrational, hysterical, feverish.
Okay.
Like, to be in a state of fever.
Yes.
Be
Could you
disturbed, basically, of to have your mind disturbed.
Could you try and find synonyms for the word and see how they fit with what you said? And I think all the words fit. But could you find some synonyms online? Delirious. Synonyms for delirious.
Incoherent, raving, bubbling, babbling.
Yes.
Irrational, wild, feverish, frenzied, deranged.
This is the word. Yes, you said irrational. Yes, and the word incoherent is very good. What does incoherent mean? Illogical. You start talking illogically. You know when someone tells you you're delirious in a metaphorical sense, not literally. You're not literally delirious, but metaphorically. That means you sound illogical. Whatever you say is illogical, or you talk in a disconnected way. That's it. So that's how he actually. What are the opposites or the antonym? The opposite words or the antonyms for delirious?
Delirious.
The opposite. Nađite u rečniku, znači, odnosno, antonyms for delirious.
Lucid.
Bravo. Lucid.
Incoherent was a synonym, so I guess coherent. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Coherent.
Lucid is a very good word. Why? Because we also say stari ali lucidan. Znate kako kažemo da je lucid ili kad ne daj Bože bolestan čovjek, još uvijek lucidan. Znači nije pao u delir, nije iracionalan. Znači još uvijek mozak funkcionira. Tako je, bravo. Znači čisto funkcioniše mozak. Znači još uvijek smo composed. We're there. We're here. We're not lost in some mental spaces. Who knows where. Neko se javio nešto da kaže. Luka, yes.
There's also lucid dreaming, which is like when you can control yourself in your sleep.
Yes. Odličan primjer. Lucid dreaming, yes. To je to. You control yourself. Excellent. You control yourself. If you're delirious, you do not control yourself anymore, unfortunately. Imate ono bolest, kako se zove? Alzheimer's disease, which can attack actually very, very intelligent people, very clever people. When people just they're completely delirious. They don't know who they are and where they are and who you are, and they just don't know. It's a very sad thing to see. But Pandora wasn't afraid and wasn't. He didn't run away, but he dealt with the problem. Now, I thought about how I had a neglected birth lately. So he had a guilty conscience, you see. I thought about how I had neglected John. He has second thoughts. He's critical of his own actions. He's self-critical. He meditates. He reflects. Reflect vam je to kad razmišlja o nečem. Šta znači neglect? What is, Matija, the word? What does the word neglect mean?
Well, to neglect something would basically mean for you to not deal with it, or basically not really forget something, but maybe not have enough time to to put up to deal with it, or to
Yes, neglect, ignore. Could you find synonyms? Ignore, probably. Disregard, abandon. Maybe you could try find some synonyms for the verb neglect and tell us.
abandon, forsake, mistreat.
Tako je. Mistreat, forsake. If you neglect someone, neglect a dog, a friend.
Basically, to fail taking care of.
Yes. Fail
someone
to,
or something.
yes, to take care of someone's needs. A svi imamo potrebe. Svi imamo needs. Okay, and you see another term, rat think, which is a traitor. You don't. Well, this is another term that is used in by criminals. A rat think, znači izdajica. Oni mnogo vole da barataju tim izdajica. Zašto? Pa dobro, izdajica zato što ste otišli, znači prosto policija saznala. Znači oni vole to. Rat think, hopper znak, izdajica. Znači zato što to in their circles. That's how they actually, I think, control one another, like gorillas, I would say. I don't know. I'm just, talking. Just talking with you. That's how I see it. And what is a stretcher? The ambulance man took. First of all, ambulance. What is an ambulance? Znači, to nije ambulanta, kad se kaže call an ambulance.
Well, basically, they come. When called in a car, basically
that's a vehicle.
Nurses.
Znači, to kad kažete call an ambulance, zovite, ne znam, ordinaciju, nego zovite automobil da dođe, vehicle, call an ambulance. And then the ambulance man, znači ljudi iz tog vozila, took Bert downstairs on a stretcher. What is a stretcher?
Basically, you put someone on a stretcher when they're unable to walk by themselves.
And you transport them, yes. When they are unable to walk, you transport the ill. You transport Bert Baxter in this case, right? Okay, and they steered him through. What does that mean? They steered him through.
Basically, to move through the obstacles that
excellent
they came across.
Yes, to move through the obstacle or they maneuvered. Znači, manevrisali su bukvalno through the obstacles, yes. He was wrapped in a big fluffy red blanket before he went out. He was wrapped. Wrapped. What does that mean? To be wrapped.
To be wrapped, basically, to have his whole body covered with it, with the blanket.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Right. So that's about it. Right. Okay. That was about it. I'm not going to read another extract. We are not going to read another extract because that's enough. And let me just remind you, you're supposed to read the section summer for the 22nd of December. Znači, za 22. decembar imate summer da spremite, a mi se 15. vidimo i čitamo Summerhill i analiziramo Summerhill. Ja bih, znači, ovde stala i poželjela bih vam sve najbolje na testu, na midterm testu. Znači, radite redovno, radite što se kaže pošteno i sve u redu. Znači, see you in 2 weeks and I wish you all the best in the midterm test.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
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 Bye-bye.